Our guest in the studio this evening is Tony, and we're going to be talking all about the Swale Youth Project. Tony, welcome along to the show.
Thank you very much, Daniel. It's nice to be here. As you say, it's a lovely night, and I hope everybody out there is enjoying the sunshine as well.
So I wonder if we could start off, Tony, by asking who are you and when did you start?
Well, I actually run Swale Youth Projects, and we started in 2002, and that was with money that came around through the Kent Children's Fund, and we sort of work in schools, in the community, setting up projects for young people.
Now, Tony, what is your link with Swale CVS?
Swale CVS are based in Sittingbourne, and they cover all of Swale, and their range is from babies 0 years old upwards through to people in their 90s and even a few in their hundreds, doing things in the community for them, such as running hospital cars, befriending schemes, and also obtaining volunteers to do work in the community, a bit like finding somebody if you wanted them to run on the radio station here.
Tony, what exactly do you do?
Well, we do a variety of things. We're linked with Shepherd Youth Action on the island here. That's run by a lady called Sharon McNaboe. I expect a lot of people might know her. She does a lot of work on the island, and I cover mainly Faversham and Sittingbourne, but I do some work on the island. The sort of thing we do is young people will come to us and they say, can you take us motocross please, Tony? And I have to try and find funds to set that up and run it. These days it's getting a little bit harder, but that's another story. But also we work in schools, and one of the favourite things in schools, especially in primary schools, is our football coaching and also our fishing. We actually coach young people in fishing in schools, in the classroom. That's quite fun because a lot of people don't understand how you can do that, but I'm lucky I managed to make some metal fish, and using magnets and that, we can teach young people the intricacies of catching fish and bringing them in, as well as teaching them all about the environment and everything that's around them.
Tony, how do you obtain funding for the project you're running?
Well, in some respects we're quite lucky because the Swale CVS, who sort of manage us, they manage our finances and our employment aspect, but it's me at the end of the day who has to come down and find the funding. We do that sort of thing by going around looking through different magazines and things, and also on the internet to find opportunities where people have funds which they're trying to use for the sort of work that we do, and we try and match it up. One of the good things about us is KCC, Kent County Council, have helped us a great deal with things like their Youth Opportunities Fund. The cooperative have been very good in helping us out, and we've got contacts with other funding organisations such as the Brook Fund, and the Children's Fund is one of the biggest supporters of our sort of work, and also there's the Kent Community. The Kent Community Foundation, they actually work with a lot of different funders, and through them they can match us up. So in that respect it works very well, and it's seen us through now. As I say, we started in 2002 and we're still here annoying people, so that's a good thing.
What age groups do you work with, Tony?
Basically, in the main I work with young people 8 years old, and they can be up to 25 years old if they've got disabilities, but in the main our age range seems to be in the 9 to 14 year age bracket. Youngsters that are perhaps still at primary school and looking to go up into primary school, they don't really know what they want or where they're going in life, and they bounce off of us, using us as we're not teachers as such, but we're able to talk to them at their level, and we sort of break the ice and help them integrate back into school if they're out of school, and also help them settle down and find their feet.
Tony, how do young people progress when they are too old for your project?
Well, in some aspects they're never too old, but as I say, the main age range is that sort of 9 years up to 19. But with KCC, Kent County Council, their youth clubs, they start at 12. So initially we're affecting that younger age group, and hopefully we're getting them in line and giving them some little bit of education and insight into how youth clubs work. And then if they're ready and they're confident enough, which is a big thing with a lot of young people, they don't feel confident walking into a big youth centre where there's a lot of people milling around. So it's a general slow phase of introducing them to it. And then once they've been in a youth centre for a while, then they soon integrate and they find all the different activities there are there, and it sets them off on a good path to their little future. After that, we also work with people, as I say, up to 19 years old, and with most youth clubs, that is the age in which they have to leave. And so we're trying, and we have been quite successful in some aspects. Young people that have been with us for quite a while, we get them into volunteering, and through that they can get themselves set up and find out what sort of pathway they'd like to take when they're looking for work. And quite often people that have volunteered with us have been able to carry on and find work in a similar sort of vein. And I have one young person working for me now who started playing football with us, and he's now doing his level 2 FA coaching badge, and he also runs projects for me, which is, I think, is quite good, and that's the way I like to see it happen.
So Tony, what interagency links do you have, and who do you work with?
We're very lucky in Swale that we've got a very good housing association, Amicus Housing, who we work with. They do a lot of work in the community, and whilst they can do quite a bit themselves because they have a group of people who do community work on the youth side, we can interlink with them, and some of the things we do they don't actually do, and in that way we can involve lots of people in the community and helping to build up the community through young people understanding what the meaning of community is and how they can help and how they can make things better for themselves and for their mums and dads. As well as the Amicus Horizon, we've got the children's centres we work with. The police are very big in working in the community. Everybody sort of thinks of the police and immediately think of the downside of being arrested, etc. But they do actually do a lot of work in trying to find things for young people to do, working with us, and that's all done behind the scenes. So from that point of view, it's very good. Primary schools are another group that we work with, the Kent County Council primary schools. They're very good at allowing us to come in, work with young people, especially those that are perhaps struggling a little bit in school. We do alternative type work with them. As I say, the fishing is a good example. If they're finding they can't settle down in school, then something like fishing, being allowed to do that for a couple of hours instead of maths or English, that helps them settle down, and it's an incentive for them to achieve a little bit more instead of trying to disrupt things, which is the normal pattern that they seem to get into. We also work with the Healthy Living Centre, which is here in Sheerness. As well as that, we work with behaviour support units, and they're a very big aspect in Kent of helping young people to find their feet. People that again, they're ones that don't get on at school, and they look for an alternative way of working, and that's when things like the fishing, motor projects, etc., that gives them more of a way into work rather than an education.
We are talking to Tony. We're talking all about the Swale Youth Project this evening, right here at the Monday Night Community Show. Tony, what is the summer scheme, and where is it?
Summer scheme that's run by Sharon McNaboe of Sheppey Youth Action. Sharon's been doing this now. This is her 10th year, so that's quite a record to keep getting funding and keep running that programme. It actually kicks off on Monday the 25th of July at St Edward's School in New Road, Sheerness, and it runs on the Monday to Thursday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and all we ask of the young people is that they come along and bring a packed lunch. We supply some drinks and biscuits at different intervals during the day. There is a cost to this, as there is with most things, but the cost is £5 a day, except on the last day when they do a trip. This year the trip is to Knockhatch, and that costs £20. But having said that, the young people do have to attend the summer scheme to take part in the trip, Otherwise we get a lot of people just wanting to go on the trip and wouldn't be too worried about doing the other activities on the summer scheme. During the summer scheme, the sort of things that we do are different workshops of art and craft. This year we've got fishing on offer, where we'll go fishing for a day. We also do archery. There's a mini football tournament, cooking workshop, art, as I say. There's other sports as well, such as tag rugby and running. There's also drama. And this year, an added attraction Sharon's managed to get in is fencing, which is something I'll be looking at having a go at. As I say, and that's all really to celebrate the 10th year of activities here on the island.
What other holiday activities do you do and provide half term?
During half term, Sharon will run some things on the island which consist of mainly trips. She'll take people out into the woods or take them on to excursions to places which they haven't been before, to open their eyes a little bit. And in the main, I tend to do things like the archery, the fishing and active things, and we also do work with, as I say, Amicus Housing quite a bit. And one of the things we've been doing with them, which has proved very successful, is getting mums, dads and grandfathers to come fishing with their children. And we've had children such as babies in prams come along. They haven't done much fishing, but I'm sure they've enjoyed the fresh air, and it's being out together and actually doing things together as a family, which I think is very worthwhile. And the comments that we've had seem to prove that it's a worthwhile activity.
What is the cost to young people?
The maximum cost of these sorts of things is about £10 a day, but things like the fishing, ball games and the archery usually cost about £2 a head, which in today's world is pretty good value, I think.
So Tony, what is it about?
Well, from our point of view, we're looking to get an apprentice on board with Swale Youth Projects. As I say, we've got young people who have gone through our process of being volunteers, and then we've taken them on and they do part-time work for us. And we've been thinking, well, if we can get an apprentice to sort of learn all the background and the background into community work, then that would be a good thing. The aspect we're working on is that the community work is about customers, and so the apprenticeship will be based around customer relations, etc., because every young person that we work with is a customer of ours. And at the same time, if we're doing work with schools or Swale Borough Council or Kent County Council, they're our customers as well. And so there are certain ethics that you have to go through and you have to maintain if you want to succeed. And it makes it a more pleasant experience for everybody.
Tony, what is the alternative curriculum work? Where do you do it, and what do you provide?
Alternative curriculum is really, it's as it says, it's an alternative to the structured schoolwork that is normally carried out in school. What we do is we take youngsters, it could be to a youth club, that's very successful because you're taking them out of the school environment, and we're giving them an alternative occupation. And that, as I said, we've done the fishing, that's proved very successful. We've also done personal development, behaviour. The Duke of Edinburgh's award has proved very good at focusing young people in achieving, and that's really the main thing about alternative curriculum work, is to get somebody who's, dare I say it, failing in school to be able to achieve and come out with some credit in something which they've actually done and got involved with. And it's really up to the individuals as to how they perceive things and how they work with us. But we can be a lot softer than teachers, and I think that's part of the secret, is to get that blend just right of being firm enough to make young people achieve and focus on something, but also soft enough so that if things do go slightly wrong, we can allow them that space and that time to recover and benefit themselves.
What age groups do you work with on this project, Tony?
Well, as it is now, we're actually working in some schools at primary age group, but the usual one that we work with is in secondary schools, and they're in the 15-16 age bracket when they're not far from leaving schools. And I think one of the best ways of highlighting this sort of work is when they are getting to a point where they're looking to be in their last year, is that we can focus more on the work aspect. And one of the things which I think works really well is work experience for young people. I've just had a young lady with me for a week doing work experience, and I think she thoroughly enjoyed it, and it gave her an insight as to different things which can be done as opposed to your shop work, working in hairdressers and that sort of thing.
Tony, I was wondering, do you have any useful contact details where our listeners, of course, could find out more about what you do?
Yes, certainly. I think I've got two for you. One is the Shepherd Youth Action, which is run by Sharon McNaboe. She can be found at 179A St George's Avenue, Sheerness. Telephone is 01795 581 791. On email, it's Sharon McNaboe at btconnect.com. And my own project, Swale Youth Projects, we're based at 9 Benstead Grove, Ospringe, Faversham. Our telephone is 01795 531147, and you can reach us by email at swaleyouthprojects@talktalk.net. And if somebody wants to talk to me personally, then I don't mind them using my mobile, which is 077 480 73934, and I hope to talk to somebody about all the sorts of things we do very soon.
Tony, thank you very much for coming this evening, telling us all about the Swale Youth Project.
Thank you, Daniel. It's been a pleasure.
That's Tony here at BRFM 95.6 here at the Monday Night Community Show this evening.